An introduction to changing the narrative with attorney and mediator Sherell Carter. That is our topic for today. Welcome to the Lawyers and Mediators International Show and Podcast by instantmediations.com, where we discuss law and conflict resolution topics to educate both professionals and everyday people. Catch regular episodes on YouTube, the Instant Mediations app, and anywhere you get your podcasts. Just remember, nothing in these episodes constitutes legal advice, so be sure to talk to a lawyer, as cases are fact-dependent. Hey everyone, this is Mac Pierre-Louis, attorney, arbitrator, and guru at this podcast that we've been doing for, we're guessing, 2 years now? And lawyer, arbitrator, mediator from Florida and Texas.
And Natalia Ołowska-Czajka, co-host of this podcast, advocate, mediator, and arbitrator from Warsaw, Poland, but also certified as the Supreme Court of Florida family mediator.
Yes, and Natalia and I are proud to introduce our dear friend and colleague, Sherell Carter, who is going to be launching her own series on the LMIPodcast called Changing the Narratives. So Sherell, welcome aboard. And can you please tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, my name is Sherell Carter. I'm an attorney and mediator based out of Houston, Texas. I'm a veteran of the United States Army. I have extensive background in supply chain operations and business management. Over the years, I've just spent a great amount of time in Southwest Asia, and I've worked in very diverse backgrounds. And I've just found that being a minority class woman of color, traveling a road that has been untraveled for my generation and lineage, it can be quite difficult when you're trying to break barriers.
Yes, awesome. And Sherell, you were one of my law school interns when you were in law school some time ago. And so it was a nice experience to work with you and get to know you personally. So we spent a lot of time together hearing about your backstory, which is truly amazing. And I hope over these upcoming weeks, months, and years, you'll get a chance to, just pour into some other people by sharing what you've been through, because I know it connects with a lot of folks. Natalia?
No, Sherell, maybe you want to share part of your story, but first of all, welcome, and it's lovely to have you with us. It's really a great gift and pleasure that we can see people grow, you from the apprentice to the fully qualified lawyer and mediator. That's actually a great pleasure, and that's like giving something from ourselves to you, but now you're also giving something more to the audience and to other people with your service, and of course with your service as an attorney and mediator. Please tell us then, what was this part of experience that made you want to speak about it and connect with other people who might have shared it with you?
Absolutely. I would first say that, I went to law school much later in life. I think we call that as a non-traditional law student these days. I'm married. I have kids. Some of them were headed towards college when I started. So I was in the process of changing my entire career. Extremely difficult. Many people told me I couldn't do it. It was going to be impossible. However, I was up for the challenge. And with many crumbs along the way, trying to navigate and find my way through, I managed to find my way to Mac. I did an internship with him in family law during my second year of law school. And it kind of helped ground me as far as getting the direction that I needed to, and what I wanted to do as far as being an attorney and how I could help others coming behind me.
Yeah, Sherell, I have your website up. If you're listening to this podcast, definitely check out the YouTube version so you can see what we're looking at. But it's basically Sherell's website. The name is justicebycarter.com. So Sherell, could you share a little bit about what Justice by Carter means to you?
Absolutely. Even I would say before I became an attorney, I've always had an affinity towards helping people, the go-to person, regardless of what it could be, right? Taxes, can you help me sell my home? My brother's in jail, or can you give me some guidance? I've always been that go-to person. And I found that even in my own tribulations, it seemed like I would always get what I call C students, the worst help possible. These are people who do this for a living, and it's like I can't get the great help that I needed. And I put focus on that and just trying to be the best that I can be, and in turn, helping others in my process, not only just being as an attorney, but being a mentor, a businesswoman, and anything that I do, and make sure that I'm fighting for the people that believe in me. So I believe in making sure that they get the justice that they deserve.
And we are doing an introduction to the series that you want to have on our podcast. And the title of the series is Changing the Narrative. Can you say what sort of narrative would you want to change? I understand that I just smell it a little from what you said, that you can't do it, it is not for you, it's not going to work, and all other sort of prejudice that comes with, as you say, stemming from minority, being a woman, and starting late, or whatever other obstacle people might find.
Yes, I would say that my family is originally from Louisiana. We come from sharecroppers, and ultimately, I mean, from slaves. We don't have anyone in my family, my generation, that are doctors, lawyers. It just wasn't envisioned. And I mean, even with my parents, my mother is recently, she's in college. She is 67 years old. So you're never too late, to continue in education. But my father never, passed a high school diploma. So education, for me, was always a way to try to, bring out the best of myself, guidance. And along that way, I'm breaking barriers, right? I'm encountering things that I've never seen before. I don't have a direction or an attorney or someone to go to say, hey, you should do this, or this is the way you should do it, to make the process just a little bit easier. So with that, changing the narrative, it's basically, I shouldn't have to be the first, but I am. And I want to make sure that I'm not the last. And with that process, I want to make sure that those are coming behind me understand the work that's gone into this, and not only to make it easier for them, but with that ease gives them the ability to focus more on making it better, right? Versus, as I would say, my parents, they focused on just trying to survive, right? We've maintained with my generation, what they've done, what they've put forth. I want my children not to just maintain or survive. I want them to break the barriers. I want them to recreate the system. I want them to make it better. And that's what changing the narrative is about.
Got it. And so, in this country, in the United States, there's a lot of shared experiences amongst many different groups of people who have come here and, helped build America. But not everybody has had the same exact path, to the present. And so, for people who might not understand, what exactly it is that you're referring to when you say the narrative, you mentioned earlier about being, having descended from a family of slaves, and then having been sharecroppers, and then going through Jim Crow, and going through the South, and then coming here to this point in your life where you are now an attorney, and you are celebrated, by your family as having achieved something. So for people who might not have shared this kind of path, what would you tell them? What are some of the elements that that somebody would see in a changed narrative, from what to what?
Well, first thing I would say, the biggest one would be me being a first generation attorney, right? That you're not going to find that in my family. But there are other backgrounds that it's typical, right? I went to law school with people where their dad was an attorney and they went to that school, and their grandfather was an attorney and they went to that school. So it's a big difference when you have someone who has a footprint in front of you, guidance, even up to internships, right? Hey, and my dad works at this great law firm, and I'm going to work there for the summer. For me, working a full-time job, running a business with my spouse, raising children, and trying to do law school, I didn't have the time to do a traditional internship, right? So those things play a big part in decisions and how we operate and how we make life through. And I would even say that knowing those things is probably why some of the faculty or guidance I got from the school thought that I wasn't going to make it, or was going to be difficult, because it's uncharted territory, right? It's typical for you to do an internship at this massive firm, or not work while you're doing law school, especially 40 hours. But I've proven that it can be done. It's challenging, but it can be done. And with the right resources and people, you can make it happen. And I thank you for that, Mac.
Absolutely.
And knowing that you are recently qualified lawyer, attorney, which absolutely we congratulate you upon, tell us about your vision, what you want to do within your practice, what you are expecting also from this podcast. What are the plans of the newborn attorney and mediator?
Absolutely. So I envision, I guess, once again, something that's not, the beaten path. I want to focus more on just general practice. Because of my background, the go-to person, I want to be the go-to attorney, whether it's a real estate issue or a family matter, or hey, I have this business contract that I want to have reviewed, or my mother is elderly and we need to help her take over her finances, and I need to be able to draw up paperwork so I can, help assist that and have the authority to do so. I want to be the person that you go to when you are having issues or you need celebration. Hey, I'm about to get ready, married. I think I need a prenup. I want Sherell to be your go-to person for whatever it is that you possibly think that you need help with.
So, Sherell, when it comes to this podcast, can you tell us what should people expect coming up? So when we have you back and you start inviting your own guests and we start having a specific topics, what would be the next, I guess, big idea that you kind of wanted to prepare people for?
Absolutely. I want to prepare those currently in law school or maybe thinking about law school that, hey, because I get that a lot, I was a law school ambassador and I enjoyed it. People reach out to me from, Indeed or Instagram. Hey, I want to go to law school. Am I too old? Or I have kids. Is it going to be possible? I want to be able to just give out information and direction for those who are starting this course and give them guidance. A little tidbit. My husband, he's a couple of years older than me. I won't give it all away, but he's starting his law school journey, right? So I want people to know that it's possible. There's no age limit. There's no cap to it. There's no criteria that you have to be of a certain, bracket of age, color, or gender to make this happen. If you want this to be, you should make it be. And that's what I intend for this series to help guide people, and not just through law, family matters, focusing on mediation, conflict resolution. As a newborn attorney, as Natalia mentioned, I'm the first in my family, and that also can create some kind of conflict. Difficulties navigating how does my family treat me, or what do I expect from them, or what should they expect from me. There's a lot that goes into it, and I would just like to share that with the public and be able to give a perspective and direction if needed.
And now probably there is time to reveal that you are already building bridges, because Mark, I understand you are the first attorney in your family, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, my story is a little different because I'm an immigrant, but along with Sherell, we share many, many similarities. And so, having gone through, well, first I was the oldest of my center four siblings, and being the oldest already gives you a certain burden, a certain lifting that you have to do to help the other ones, follow through. And so I finished my law degree, got a master's, but then my sister went and became a medical doctor, and my brother went and got his PhD, and my youngest sister is now a nurse. And I have three older siblings who are all doing well in their own capacities in the medical fields or the business world. So yeah, it can be done, and it's always encouraging for me whenever I see young people like Sherell who come and who don't take no for an answer, but who push. I told you this, Natalia, before. The thing I like about Sherell is, she's brave and she takes risks and she's moving forward. And so that's what the business world is looking for. That's what clients are looking for as well. They just want you to solve the problem and they want you to push for it. So, Sherell, you used the word conflict earlier when you were describing how conflicts might happen. This whole podcast, one of the themes of it is focusing on conflict and how we resolve it. And we might resolve it as a lawyer in a courtroom, or we might resolve it as a mediator who's neutral, who's trying to help people resolve their differences. Can you tell us a little bit about mediation and why okay, you're a mediator first off, but why are you a mediator, and what do you hope to do with your mediation experience?
Absolutely. Once again, this ties back around a lot to just personal experience and not necessarily law, but I've been the go-to person for most people to help resolve issues and problems. And I've also find that sometimes when people come to you, they may not listen. And then they come back and they still don't listen, but they still want you to solve the problem because you told them the right information to begin with. So you become trusted. And with that, I would like to be considered a trusted, mediator within the profession, within my community, to be able to help people along with their issues, whether it's family matters, maybe even conflicts with a business partner, neighbor. I want to be able to give the perspective that I am a trusted professional who's just here to help you with whatever needs that that you need to be able to push through and make your life better. I want to be that person.
So a few more minutes left, guys. But Sherell, one of the things, if you could tell the audience one secret, not secret, I guess that's not appropriate, one thing about yourself that most people wouldn't actually know if they just met you for the first time. Anything, whether it's your military background. The reason I'm asking this is for people to get to know you, but also because the word new attorney was used, but we want people to know you yourself are the mother of what? Young adults. And so you're not new by any stretch of the imagination. You've been working and you are working in the oil industry for what, a decade?
Yeah.
So can you tell us something that people might not know about you?
Wow, there is so much. I would definitely say that yes, I may be newly licensed, but definitely not new to the profession. Um, I I would say most people wouldn't know that I've spent probably nearly a decade almost in South, as I mentioned, Southwest Asia. I've lived in Iraq for at least 5 of those years. I've traveled to Dubai, Doha. One of the best vacations I've ever had was in the Maldives. I mean, Singapore. I would consider myself a worldwide traveler, and with that comes to be a worldwide learner. I've had the ability to, or the advantage, I guess, of meet people from all walks of life, all cultures. I would say one, I guess, weird, quirky fact is I actually got deported from Kazakhstan. I was going to Kyrgyzstan and did not know that there was a certain visa I needed prior to Kazakhstan, which was the connecting airport. And I quickly got diverted back and I missed my connecting flight in Turkey to get back home. So if you ever been to those stranded abroad, I definitely have some stories for that.
It's funny.
And this is exactly the most wonderful thing. You can be a newborn attorney, but you are bringing all your colors of life into the profession. You understand more with your own life experience. And the fact that you're new, that means that you are not rigid. You are not stuck within some previous structures. You are coming with all your strength, with all your courage, with all your enthusiasm to build something new and I also understand, change the image of the profession, because a lot of people do have some narrative about lawyers, and sometimes this narrative is not positive. So I understand this is, again, one of the narratives you want to change.
Absolutely. And I look forward to being a part of the series, help putting out knowledge to the community, giving guidance, and like you said, bringing the best, right? And one thing that Mac mentioned I would like to touch on is I don't believe in no. I don't take no for an answer. So I definitely believe in not only fighting for a cause, my clients, and my beliefs.
Awesome. Well, Sherell Carter, thank you so much. Thank you for your service to this country. Thank you for the experiences that you've lived so that you can now pour into other people and share with them how they can be better. And thank you for being an example because we, especially we as Black people in this country, we have gone through a lot, and we want to make this a more perfect country because of all the past and all the baggage. And so we're looking forward to all that you have to share and to help just build into other people's lives and help them succeed, especially newly minted law students like yourself. All right,
Absolutely.
guys, that's it for now. And we're going to be back, come back on and check out Sherell's new series, Changing the Narrative. Okay, until next time, take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.